Once upon a time, in a beautiful land filled with lush greenery and majestic mountains, there lived a group of curious children. These children were known for their insatiable thirst for knowledge and adventure. They spent their days exploring the wonders of nature and learning from the animals that roamed the land. One animal, in particular, caught their attention: the magnificent giraffe. The children had heard fascinating tales about the giraffe's incredible height and long neck. They yearned to meet a giraffe up close and learn about its extraordinary life. So, they embarked on a grand quest to find a giraffe and unravel the secrets it held. As the children ventured deep into the wilderness, they encountered various creatures along the way. They marveled at colorful birds, playful monkeys, and graceful antelopes. Their excitement grew with each passing moment, eager to catch a glimpse of the towering giraffe. Finally, after days of searching, their eyes widened with awe as they spotted a family of giraffes gracefully moving across the savannah. The children approached them cautiously, not wanting to disturb the gentle giants. The giraffes, sensing the children's genuine curiosity, welcomed their presence. The children observed the giraffes' long necks reaching high into the treetops, gracefully plucking leaves and munching on them. They learned how the giraffes' unique adaptations helped them survive in the wild. The giraffes also shared stories of their travels, describing the breathtaking landscapes they had witnessed. Impressed by the giraffe's wisdom, the children decided to reciprocate by sharing their own knowledge. They told the giraffes about their studies and discoveries, from the wonders of science to the enchantment of storytelling. The giraffes listened intently, their eyes filled with wonder at the children's tales. As the sun began to set, painting the sky with hues of orange and pink, the children bid farewell to their newfound friends. The giraffes dipped their heads gracefully, a sign of gratitude for the meaningful exchange. With hearts full of joy, the children embarked on their journey back home, carrying the memories of their encounter with the giraffes. Back in their village, the children eagerly shared their adventures with their families and friends. The tale of the curious children and the majestic giraffe spread like wildfire, captivating the imagination of everyone who heard it. Inspired by the children's bravery and thirst for knowledge, the villagers began to explore their own curiosities and celebrate the wonders of nature. In the years that followed, the children continued their quest for knowledge, always cherishing the memories of their encounter with the giraffes. They grew up to become wise and compassionate individuals, carrying the lessons they learned from the giraffes in their hearts. The giraffes, too, thrived, knowing that they had touched the lives of the young explorers. They continued to roam the land, their presence a reminder of the beauty and diversity that nature bestowed upon them. And so, the tale of the curious children and the majestic giraffes became a legend, passed down from generation to generation. It served as a reminder of the importance of curiosity, empathy, and the boundless wonders that awaited those who dared to seek knowledge. And whenever the children gazed upon the skies, they would spot a giraffe-shaped constellation, a symbol of their enduring friendship with the majestic creatures that had touched their lives. Once upon a time, in a magical forest filled with towering trees and chirping birds, there lived a baby pig named Penelope. Penelope was the smallest piglet in her family, but she had the biggest dreams. She loved exploring the forest and making new friends. Every morning, Penelope would wake up with the sun, oinking cheerfully as she wiggled her little pink tail. She would scamper out of her cozy little pen and trot through the lush green forest, her floppy ears bouncing with each step. One sunny day, as Penelope was sniffing flowers near a bubbling brook, she heard a faint cry for help. Curiosity piqued, she followed the sound and discovered a lost bunny named Benjamin. Benjamin had strayed far from his home and was feeling scared and lonely. With her heart full of kindness, Penelope comforted Benjamin and promised to help him find his way back. They journeyed through the forest together, Penelope leading the way with her keen sense of direction. On their adventure, they encountered a wise old owl perched on a tree branch. The owl, named Oliver, offered his wisdom and guidance, sharing stories of the forest and its magical creatures. Penelope and Benjamin listened intently, their eyes wide with wonder. As they continued their search, they stumbled upon a mischievous squirrel named Sammy. Sammy loved playing tricks on others, but had a good heart. Penelope convinced Sammy to join their quest, and together, they formed an unlikely but strong trio. Days turned into weeks as Penelope, Benjamin, Oliver, and Sammy ventured deeper into the enchanted forest. Along the way, they encountered talking mushrooms, dancing butterflies, and friendly deer who shared berries with them. Finally, after much perseverance, they found Benjamin's cozy burrow hidden beneath a magnificent oak tree. Benjamin's family was overjoyed to see him return safely, and they welcomed Penelope, Oliver, and Sammy with open arms. The forest creatures celebrated their triumph with a grand feast. The birds sang sweet melodies, and the animals danced beneath the twinkling stars. Penelope smiled as she watched her new friends frolic in happiness. With their mission accomplished, Penelope realized that true friendships could be found in the most unexpected places. She had learned that even the smallest of creatures could make a big difference in someone's life. From that day forward, Penelope, Benjamin, Oliver, and Sammy remained the best of friends. They continued to explore the forest together, embarking on new adventures and spreading joy wherever they went. And so, the tale of Penelope and her forest friends became legendary in the magical forest, inspiring generations of animals to be kind, courageous, and to cherish the beauty of friendship. And if you ever wander into that enchanted forest, you might just catch a glimpse of Penelope, her little pink tail wagging happily as she embarks on yet another extraordinary adventure. Once upon a time, in a vibrant meadow, there lived a curious little bunny named Benjamin. Benjamin had the most beautiful sky blue eyes that sparkled whenever he hopped through the tall grass. He loved to explore and make new friends. One sunny morning, as Benjamin hopped along, he came across a gentle deer named Daisy. Daisy had a coat as soft as velvet and kind, doe-like eyes. She greeted Benjamin with a warm smile and invited him to join her on a magical adventure. Eagerly, Benjamin agreed, and the two friends set off together through the meadow. They hopped and pranced, chasing butterflies and giggling with delight. As they ventured deeper into the meadow, they stumbled upon a majestic owl named Oliver perched on a tree branch. Oliver was known as the wisest creature in the meadow, with feathers as dark as midnight and eyes that gleamed like stars. He invited Benjamin and Daisy to gather around as he began to tell them a tale. Oliver's story was about a mischievous squirrel named Sammy, who loved to collect shiny acorns. Sammy's collection grew bigger and bigger, but he kept it all to himself, never sharing with anyone. One day, while Sammy was busily gathering acorns, he tripped over a hidden rock and spilled his precious collection all over the meadow. The acorns rolled in every direction, far beyond his reach. Feeling disheartened, Sammy sat amidst the scattered acorns, on the verge of tears. But then, the other animals of the meadow, including Benjamin and Daisy, gathered around him. They didn't laugh or scold him. Instead, they offered their help. Together, they collected the acorns and created a beautiful display in the center of the meadow. Benjamin and Daisy even added colorful flowers to brighten the scene. Sammy was overwhelmed with gratitude and realized the joy of sharing and working together. From that day on, Sammy became the most generous squirrel in the meadow. He shared his acorns with his friends and even taught them how to crack them open to find the tasty nuts inside. Inspired by the story, Benjamin and Daisy made a pact to always help and share with others. They would be the kindest and most helpful creatures in the meadow, spreading love and friendship wherever they went. As the seasons passed, Benjamin, Daisy, and their friends organized picnics, races, and talent shows in the meadow. The animals played games, laughed together, and celebrated the beauty of nature. One day, Benjamin discovered an injured bird with a broken wing named Bella. She had become separated from her flock and felt lonely and scared. Benjamin and Daisy immediately rushed to her aid, offering comfort and a safe place to stay. As Bella's wing healed, she shared stories of her travels and the far-off lands she had seen. The animals listened in awe, their imaginations whisked away to distant places. Bella's stories brought the meadow alive with wonder and dreams. Word of the meadow's magical tales and loving community spread, attracting animals from far and wide. The meadow flourished with diverse species, each bringing their unique stories and talents. Benjamin, Daisy, Sammy, Oliver, and Bella became the heart of the meadow, cherished by all. They continued to share stories, celebrate friendships, and remind everyone of the power of kindness and unity. And so, the meadow remained a place of joy, where animals of all kinds came to learn, laugh, and love. Benjamin's sky-blue eyes twinkled with happiness as he watched his meadow family grow, grateful for the magic that friendship had brought into their lives. Once upon a time, in the enchanting bamboo forests of China, there lived a playful and cuddly panda named Pippin. Pippin was no ordinary panda. With his jet-black patches around his eyes and his fluffy white fur, he was the most adorable panda in the whole forest. Pippin loved to explore and discover new things. Every day, he would venture deep into the forest, hopping from one bamboo tree to another. He would munch on the fresh bamboo shoots, which were his favorite snack. One sunny morning, while Pippin was happily munching on bamboo, he heard a soft whimpering sound nearby. Curious, he followed the sound and stumbled upon a baby panda, all alone and scared. The little panda had lost its way and didn't know how to get back home. Pippin's heart melted with compassion, and he knew he had to help the baby panda. He introduced himself as Pippin and promised to find the little one's family. Together, They embarked on an exciting adventure through the bamboo forest. As they journeyed, Pippin taught the baby panda how to climb trees and showed him the tastiest bamboo shoots. They encountered friendly forest creatures like squirrels, birds, and even a wise old owl who gave them directions. Days turned into weeks, but they couldn't find the baby panda's family. Pippin never lost hope, though, and encouraged the little one to keep going. Finally, one day, they stumbled upon a group of pandas having a bamboo feast near a sparkling waterfall. The baby panda's family was overjoyed to see him, and tears of happiness filled their eyes. They thanked Pippin for his kindness and invited him to join their celebration. Pippin felt a warm sense of belonging and spent the day playing and laughing with his newfound panda friends. News of Pippin's bravery and kindness spread throughout the forest, and soon, he became a hero among the animals. The forest creatures organized a grand feast in his honor, and Pippin was presented with a golden medal for his selflessness. Pippin's adventures didn't end there. He became the guardian of the bamboo forest, protecting it from harm and making sure all the animals lived in harmony. He taught the other pandas how to explore and learn, spreading joy and laughter wherever he went. Years passed, and Pippin grew old, but his spirit remained young and vibrant. The animals loved him dearly and knew that his legacy would live on forever. Pippin's tale became a bedtime story for generations, reminding everyone of the importance of kindness, courage, and never giving up. And so, children, the story of Pippin, the adventurous and kind-hearted panda, teaches us that true happiness lies in helping others and embracing the wonders of the world around us. Just like Pippin, may you find your own adventures and spread love wherever you go. The end. Once upon a time, in a faraway land, there were two cats named Marmalade and Toffee. They lived in a cozy little cottage with their loving owners, a kind-hearted couple who adored their feline friends. Marmalade was a beautiful ginger cat with bright green eyes, while Toffee was a fluffy calico with a mischievous streak. One sunny afternoon, Marmalade and Toffee were lazing about in the garden, enjoying the warm rays of the sun. But soon enough, their boredom got the better of them, and they decided to explore the neighborhood. They sneaked out of the garden and made their way down the street, curious and eager to see what adventures awaited them. Their first stop was a busy market square, where vendors sold all kinds of delicious food and treats. Marmalade and Toffee crept around the stalls, their eyes wide with wonder and excitement. They sniffed the air, taking in the tantalizing scents of roasted meats, fresh bread, and fragrant spices. Toffee's stomach rumbled, and she couldn't resist the temptation. In a flash, she darted towards a cart piled high with savory pastries, grabbed a flaky meat pie, and made a run for it. Marmalade followed suit, snatching a piece of roasted chicken from a nearby vendor's display. The two cats scampered away, giggling with delight, their mouths full of stolen food. But their mischief didn't go unnoticed. The market vendors gave chase, shouting and waving their arms, trying to catch the naughty cats. Marmalade and Toffee raced through the streets, their hearts pounding with excitement. They leaped over fences, darted through alleyways, and scampered up trees, narrowly escaping their pursuers at every turn. Finally, they made their way back home, panting and exhausted but exhilarated by their wild adventure. Their owners scolded them for their misbehavior, but deep down, they couldn't help but smile at their mischievous little felines. From that day on, Marmalade and Toffee were known throughout the neighborhood as the two naughty cats who stole food from the market. But despite their mischievous ways, they were still loved and cherished by their owners, who couldn't help but admire their spunky and adventurous spirit. And so, Marmalade and Toffee lived happily ever after, always up to some new and exciting mischief, but always surrounded by the love and affection of their devoted family. The community of frogs lived in a lush and vibrant jungle, surrounded by the sounds of birds chirping and monkeys howling. They were content with their simple lives, hopping around the foliage and basking in the warm sunshine. They spent their days exploring the jungle and playing games with their frog friends. One day, a drought struck the jungle, and the once flooded ponds and streams began to dry up. The frogs started to feel the effects of the drought as they struggled to find water. They became weaker and weaker each day, and their once bright colors began to fade. The community of frogs knew they had to act fast if they were to survive. They held a meeting to discuss their predicament and came up with a plan. They had heard rumors of a mystical pond deep in the heart of the jungle that never ran dry. They knew the journey would be treacherous, but they had no other choice. The group set off on their expedition, navigating their way through dense thickets and avoiding dangerous predators. They faced many obstacles along the way, including snakes and other predators, but they persevered, driven by their desperation for water. Days turned into weeks, and the journey seemed never-ending. The frogs started to lose hope, but their leader, a wise and experienced frog, encouraged them to keep going. He reminded them of the value of perseverance, courage, and community. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, they arrived at the mythical pond. To their surprise, the pond was guarded by a powerful and wise frog who had lived there for centuries. He greeted them kindly and listened to their plight. The wise frog explained that the pond was enchanted, and the only way to gain access to its waters was by performing a special dance. The community of frogs was hesitant, but knew they had no choice. The wise frog taught them the dance, and the frogs practiced tirelessly until they perfected it. Finally, they performed the dance with all their might, and the pond began to bubble and froth. The water was alive with energy, and the frogs rejoiced as they drank deeply from the enchanted pond. Overjoyed and grateful, the frogs thanked the wise frog and returned home with their precious water. They knew that they had discovered a powerful secret of the jungle, and that they would never forget the value of perseverance, courage, and community. From that day on, the frogs continued to dance by the pond, sharing their newfound knowledge with their friends and family. The jungle was once again filled with the joyful sound of their croaks, and life was good once more. The community of frogs had learned a valuable lesson that day. They had learned that sometimes, the things that seem impossible can be achieved through determination and hard work. They had also learned the value of helping each other and working together as a team. And so, the frogs continued to thrive in the lush and vibrant jungle, sharing their knowledge and wisdom with future generations of frogs. They had become a tight-knit community, always looking out for each other and never forgetting the value of perseverance and courage in the face of adversity. Once upon a time, in a dense forest, there lived a clever fox named Felix. He was always up to some mischief and loved to play pranks on the other animals. The animals in the forest were tired of his mischievous ways, and they decided to hold a meeting to come up with a plan to put an end to his antics. The animals gathered in a clearing and began to discuss what they could do. Suddenly, a wise old owl named Olivia flew in and asked what was going on. The animals explained their problem to the owl, and she listened carefully. After hearing the animals out, the owl had an idea. "I think I have a solution," she said. "Let's hold a contest. The fox can compete against any animal in the forest. If the fox wins, he gets to continue his pranks, but if he loses, he has to leave the forest and never come back." The animals agreed, and the contest was set. The next day, the fox came to the clearing, ready to compete. The animals chose the fastest rabbit in the forest as the fox's opponent. The race was set, and the animals gathered around to watch. The race began, and the fox quickly took the lead. But just as he was about to cross the finish line, he noticed the rabbit had stopped running. Instead, the rabbit was eating some delicious clover, completely oblivious to the race. The fox was so confident in his victory that he too stopped running and joined the rabbit for a snack. That's when the wise old owl appeared. "What are you two doing?" she asked. "We've won the race," the fox boasted. "But you didn't cross the finish line," the owl said. "And that means you haven't won anything. The rabbit won the race because he finished it, and you lost." The fox was shocked. He realized that he had been tricked by the wise old owl. He had been so focused on winning the race that he hadn't paid attention to the rules. The other animals cheered as the fox hung his head in shame and slinked away. From that day on, the clever fox was never seen in the forest again, and the other animals were finally able to live in peace without his pranks. The end. Once upon a time, in a faraway land, there lived a group of animals in a beautiful meadow. There were rabbits, squirrels, foxes, hedgehogs, and many other creatures that called the meadow their home. One day, the animals noticed that their food supply was running low. They realized that they needed to work together to find more food, or they would all go hungry. So, they gathered together to discuss a plan. The rabbits suggested that they should start a vegetable garden, while the squirrels proposed that they should gather nuts and berries. The hedgehogs suggested that they should dig for roots and tubers, while the foxes suggested hunting for small prey. The animals agreed to work together and to each contribute to the food supply. They worked hard and were able to gather enough food to sustain themselves for the winter months. As the winter approached, the animals realized that they needed shelter from the cold. The rabbits suggested building burrows, while the squirrels proposed building nests in the trees. The hedgehogs suggested using their spines to create a protective barrier around their homes, while the foxes suggested building dens. The animals worked together to build their homes and stayed warm and cozy during the long winter months. They told stories, played games, and enjoyed each other's company. As the winter came to an end, the animals noticed that the meadow had been damaged by a storm. Trees were uprooted, and the ground was muddy and wet. The animals realized that they needed to work together to restore the meadow to its former beauty. The rabbits used their digging skills to fill in the holes, while the squirrels used their climbing skills to repair the damaged trees. The hedgehogs used their spines to create a barrier against the wind, while the foxes used their keen senses to find the perfect locations for new homes. The animals worked together tirelessly, and soon the meadow was restored to its former beauty. They realized that by working together, they could achieve great things. One day, a group of travelers passed through the meadow. They were amazed by the animals' cooperation and teamwork. They decided to stay and learn from the animals. The travelers learned from the rabbits how to grow vegetables, from the squirrels how to gather nuts and berries, from the hedgehogs how to dig for roots and tubers, and from the foxes how to hunt for small prey. The animals and the travelers became great friends and learned many new things from each other. They shared stories and enjoyed each other's company. As the time came for the travelers to leave, they realized that they had learned more than just new skills. They had learned the importance of cooperation, teamwork, and friendship. They promised to remember the lessons they had learned from the animals and to apply them in their own lives. Years passed, and the animals grew old. They knew that their time was coming to an end, but they were grateful for the lessons they had learned and the friendships they had made. As the animals closed their eyes for the last time, they left behind a legacy of cooperation, teamwork, and friendship. The meadow continued to thrive, and new generations of animals learned from the example set by their predecessors. And so, the meadow remained a symbol of the power of cooperation, of the importance of working together to achieve great things, and of the lasting impact that friendships can have on our lives. The end. Once upon a time in a land far, far away, there lived a young girl named Lily. Lily was known in the village for her kind heart and her love for baking. She spent most of her days in the kitchen, whipping up all sorts of sweet treats for the townsfolk. One day, while walking through the woods, Lily stumbled upon a magical orchard. The trees in the orchard were unlike any she had ever seen before, and they were laden with the most delicious fruits she had ever tasted. As she wandered through the orchard, a voice spoke to her. "Lily," the voice said, "if you pick any of my fruits, you must fill them with something sweet and return them to me before sunset." Lily was confused but intrigued, and so she picked a fruit from the nearest tree. As she did, she felt a jolt of magic run through her body. She quickly filled the fruit with a delicious mixture of honey and cinnamon and returned it to the tree. As she walked away, Lily heard a faint voice say, "You have passed the first test, Lily. Tomorrow, there will be more." The next day, Lily returned to the orchard to find that the trees had multiplied overnight. There were now dozens of them, each bearing a different type of fruit. The voice spoke to her again. "You have proven yourself to be a true baker, Lily. Today, you must fill 3 fruits with your most creative recipes." Lily set to work, and soon the orchard was filled with the smells of baking. She created a fruit filled with lemon curd and another with chocolate ganache. For the third fruit, she decided to take a risk and fill it with a spicy jalapeno jelly. She returned the fruits to the trees and waited. As the sun began to set, the voice spoke again. "You have passed the second test, Lily. Tomorrow, there will be more." Over the next few days, Lily continued to fill the fruits with all sorts of flavors and ingredients. She filled them with fruit jams and nut butters, marshmallow fluff and caramel sauce, even savory fillings like pesto and tomato sauce. Each day, the voice would give her a new challenge, and each day Lily would rise to the occasion. She created new recipes and experimented with different flavors, and soon the villagers began to take notice of her magical baked goods. Word of the magical orchard and Lily's incredible baking skills spread far and wide, and soon people from all over the kingdom came to visit her. They would watch in awe as she filled the fruits with her incredible creations, and they would beg her to teach them her secrets. Lily, ever the kind and generous baker, began to teach others how to bake. She showed them how to create their own magical treats, and soon the kingdom was filled with delicious baked goods of all kinds. Years passed, and Lily grew old. She knew that it was time to pass on her knowledge to the next generation of bakers, so she took a handful of fruits from the orchard and filled them with all of her favorite recipes. She then left the orchard in the hands of the next chosen baker and returned to her village. From that day on, the orchard was passed down from baker to baker, each one filling the fruits with their own unique creations. And though Lily had long since passed away, her legacy lived on through the magical orchard and the incredible baked goods that it produced. Once upon a time, in a beautiful forest nestled in the rolling hills, there lived a group of happy deer. They were a close-knit family, always looking out for each other and playing together under the warm sunshine. The eldest of the deer family was a wise and caring buck named George. He looked after his younger siblings, teaching them important lessons about survival and friendship. His sister, Daisy, was kind and gentle, always taking the time to help others in need. The other deer in the forest admired the strong family bond that the siblings shared and looked up to them as role models for their own families. One day, a young deer named Rosie wandered off into the forest alone. She was shy and nervous and had never explored the woods by herself before. As she walked deeper into the forest, she became frightened and lost. Just as Rosie began to lose hope, she heard the sound of a friendly voice calling out to her. It was Daisy, who had been out searching for her. Daisy led Rosie back to the family, who were overjoyed to see her safe and sound. From that day on, Rosie and Daisy became best friends. They played and explored the forest together, and their friendship grew stronger with each passing day. One afternoon, as the deer were grazing peacefully in a sunny meadow, a fierce storm suddenly rolled in. The wind howled and the rain poured down, and the deer huddled together for warmth and protection. George knew that they needed to find shelter, and quickly led the family to a cozy cave nearby. The deer huddled together, sharing their warmth and love for each other, until the storm passed. As the sun broke through the clouds and the forest began to dry out, the deer emerged from the cave, happy and grateful to have survived the storm together. From that day on, the deer in the forest knew the importance of family and friendship. They stuck together through thick and thin, always looking out for each other and enjoying the beauty of the forest they called home. The end. Once upon a time, in a vast savanna filled with tall grass and acacia trees, a family of cute little lions lived in a den at the foot of a rocky hill. The little lions were known for their adorable roars, which sounded more like high-pitched meows. They loved to play and explore their surroundings, chasing after insects and each other. One sunny morning, as the little lions were playing outside their den, their mother came to them with an important announcement. She had spotted a herd of gazelles nearby, and it was time for the little lions to learn how to hunt. Excited at the prospect of a new adventure, the little lions followed their mother through the savannah, their tiny paws barely making a sound as they walked. As they approached the herd of gazelles, their mother instructed them on how to move silently and stay hidden in the tall grass. The little lions watched in awe as their mother expertly stalked a young gazelle, waiting for the perfect moment to pounce. As she leaped forward, the little lions followed suit, their tiny claws digging into the ground as they ran. To their surprise, the gazelle managed to escape their grasp and darted away, leaving the little lions feeling disappointed. But their mother reassured them that it was all part of the learning process and that they would have many more opportunities to hunt in the future. The little lions continued to practice their hunting skills over the coming weeks, gradually improving with each attempt. They learned how to work together as a team, using their small size and speed to their advantage. One day, as they were playing near their den, they heard a loud rumbling noise. Looking up, they saw a massive herd of wildebeests stampeding towards them. The little lions were terrified and didn't know what to do. Their mother quickly sprang into action, leading them to safety behind a large boulder. She explained that the wildebeest were migrating and would soon pass by, but they needed to stay hidden to avoid being trampled. As the herd thundered by, the little lions watched in awe, feeling both scared and fascinated by the massive animals. Once the wildebeest had passed, their mother took them to a nearby watering hole, where they drank and played in the cool water. Over time, the little lions grew stronger and more confident, honing their skills and exploring their surroundings. They learned to avoid danger, such as snakes and other predators, and to work together to overcome obstacles. As they grew older, the little lions began to venture farther from their den, exploring new parts of the savannah and encountering new animals. They made friends with other young lions and even played with the occasional hyena cub, despite their mother's warnings. Despite their adventurous spirit, the little lions never forgot the lessons their mother had taught them. They remained close-knit and loyal, always looking out for each other and never giving up in the face of adversity. And so, the cute little lions continued to thrive in the vast savannah, playing, exploring, and learning new things every day. They had become a symbol of strength and determination, inspiring other animals with their adorable roars and unbreakable bond. Once upon a time, in a lush green forest nestled at the foot of a magnificent mountain range, there lived a young bear named Benny. Benny was a curious and adventurous bear cub who loved exploring the forest with his friends. His forest home was filled with towering trees, colorful flowers, and babbling brooks. One sunny morning, Benny woke up with a twinkle in his eye and a rumble in his tummy. He knew it was time to embark on a grand adventure. He called out to his friends, Sammy the squirrel and Lily the rabbit, and together they set off on a journey to discover a legendary treasure said to be hidden deep within the forest. As they roamed through the thick foliage, Benny, Sammy, and Lily encountered all sorts of creatures. They met chatty blue jays, mischievous raccoons, and even a wise old owl who shared stories of the forest's past. Each encounter brought them closer to their quest, and their excitement grew with every step. Suddenly, Benny caught a whiff of something sweet and delicious. Following his nose, he led his friends to a clearing where they found a patch of wild berries. With joyful cheers, they feasted on the ripe berries, their sticky paws and whiskers evidence of their delightful indulgence. Revitalized, Benny, Sammy, and Lily continued their expedition. They climbed steep hills, crossed trickling streams, and leaped over fallen logs. The forest seemed to come alive with wonder and enchantment as they ventured deeper into its heart. Finally, after hours of searching, the trio stumbled upon a mysterious cave hidden behind a cascading waterfall. Heart pounding with excitement, Benny bravely entered the dark cave, his friends following close behind. They tiptoed cautiously, their eyes wide open, searching for the legendary treasure. As they ventured further, a glimmer caught their attention. It was a sparkling golden key lying amidst a bed of shimmering crystals. Benny, recognizing the importance of this discovery, gently picked it up, feeling a surge of anticipation. The trio retraced their steps, their minds racing with possibilities. As they approached the entrance of the cave, they noticed a massive stone door carved with intricate symbols. With bated breath, Benny inserted the golden key into the keyhole, and with a resounding click, the door swung open, revealing a sight beyond their wildest dreams. Before them stood a treasure trove of knowledge, a library filled with ancient books and scrolls. Benny, Sammy, and Lily gasped in awe, realizing that the true treasure was not gold or jewels, but the wisdom and stories contained within those pages. For days on end, the curious bear cub and his friends immersed themselves in the books, reading tales of faraway lands, magical creatures, and brave heroes. They learned about the importance of friendship, courage, and the wonders of the natural world. With their hearts filled with newfound knowledge, Benny, Sammy, and Lily bid farewell to the enchanting library. They left the cave, their heads held high, grateful for the incredible adventure they had experienced. Returning to their forest home, the young bear cub and his friends shared the stories they had discovered, igniting the imaginations of all the forest dwellers. From that day forward, Benny, Sammy, and Lily became the forest's storytellers, spreading joy and wisdom through their tales. And so, the tale of Benny and his friends spread far and wide, inspiring generations of young bears and woodland creatures to embark on their own adventures, discover hidden treasures, and share the magic of stories with the world.
Once upon a time, in a lush green forest, lived a group of animals who were the best of friends. There was a wise old owl, a curious little rabbit, a playful fox, a gentle deer, a proud peacock, a mischievous monkey, and a brave lion. They all lived together in harmony and helped each other out whenever they could. One day, as they were all gathered around a cozy campfire, the owl spoke up. "My dear friends," she said, "I have a story to share with you. It is a tale of a magical garden that is said to exist deep in the heart of the forest. Legend has it that the garden is home to the most beautiful flowers and the sweetest fruits in all the land." The animals were all intrigued by this tale and eagerly listened as the owl continued. "But there is a catch," she said. "The garden is guarded by a fearsome dragon who is known to attack any creature that comes near it." The lion, being the bravest of the group, said, "I will defeat the dragon and claim the garden for us all." But the owl warned him, "No, my friend. The dragon is too strong for any one of us to defeat alone. We must work together if we are to have any hope of claiming the garden." The animals all agreed, and they set out on their quest to find the magical garden. They traveled through thick forests and over treacherous mountains, facing many dangers along the way. But they did not give up, for they knew that the reward at the end of their journey would be worth it. Finally, after many days of travel, they arrived at the entrance to the garden. Sure enough, the fearsome dragon was there, guarding the entrance. The lion stepped forward, ready to fight, but the owl reminded him of their plan. "Remember, my friend," she said, "we must work together." So, the rabbit used his quickness and agility to distract the dragon while the fox snuck around and stole one of its scales. The peacock used his stunning beauty to mesmerize the dragon, while the deer used her gentle nature to calm it down. And finally, the monkey used his mischievous nature to distract the dragon one last time while the lion landed the final blow, defeating the beast once and for all. With the dragon defeated, the animals were free to explore the magical garden. And what a sight it was! The flowers were more beautiful than anything they had ever seen before, and the fruits were so sweet that they tasted like heaven. The animals were all overjoyed and grateful to have found such a treasure, and they made a promise to protect the garden and its inhabitants from any harm that might come their way. And so they all lived happily ever after in a world full of wonder and magic, where anything was possible if they worked together. As the animals explored the magical garden, they were amazed by all the wonders they saw. The flowers were in all colors of the rainbow, and their fragrances were so intoxicating that the animals couldn't help but take deep breaths to take in all of their scents. The fruits in the garden were the juiciest, sweetest, and most delicious fruits the animals had ever tasted. There were ripe mangoes, juicy oranges, plump strawberries, and succulent pineapples that dripped with nectar. The animals feasted on the fruits, and their bellies were soon full. As they explored further into the garden, the animals discovered a hidden pond in a corner of the garden, which was surrounded by some of the most delicate and intricate flowers. The pond was home to a school of shimmering fish and a family of graceful swans. The animals marveled at the sight, and the peacock was so impressed by the swans that he asked them to teach him how to swim gracefully. The mischievous monkey, however, couldn't resist his naughty nature, and he decided to play a prank on his friends. While they were exploring the garden, the monkey had managed to get his hands on a bottle of magic potion that he found in the dragon's lair. The monkey added a drop of the potion to the water in the pond, and soon the water began to shimmer and dance with sparkles. The animals were surprised and delighted by the sudden change in the water, and they began to play and dance around the pond, splashing each other with the sparkly water. Even the swans and fish joined in the fun, swimming and dancing around the pond. As the day drew to a close, the animals gathered together in a shady grove of trees, where they talked and laughed together, feeling grateful for their friendship and the adventures they had shared. Before they left the garden, the animals made a promise to each other that they would come back to the magical garden every year to relive their adventure and continue to explore the wonders of the forest. And so the animals returned to their homes, filled with joy and happiness, knowing that they had achieved something remarkable together. They knew that they had formed a bond that would last a lifetime, and that they had discovered a magical place that would forever be a symbol of their friendship and their shared adventures.
Once upon a time, in a clear, cold river, there lived a salmon named Sammy. Sammy was a bright and happy fish, always swimming around and exploring his underwater world. He loved to chase after little insects and nibble on bits of plants that grew along the riverbank. One day, Sammy noticed that the water in the river was starting to get murky and dirty. There were bits of trash floating in the water, and the plants along the riverbank were wilting and dying. Sammy knew that something was wrong, and he decided to do something about it. Sammy swam upstream, against the current, to see if he could find the source of the pollution. As he swam, he encountered other fish who were struggling in the dirty water. Sammy knew that he had to help them too. Finally, Sammy reached the source of the pollution. It was a factory that was dumping chemicals into the river. Sammy knew that he had to stop the factory from polluting the river and harming all the fish and other creatures that lived there. Sammy gathered all of his fish friends and together they devised a plan. They swam up to the factory and formed a blockade, preventing any more chemicals from entering the river. They stayed there for hours, until the factory workers came out and saw what they were doing. The workers were surprised and impressed by the fish's bravery and determination. They promised to stop polluting the river and to work on finding a cleaner way to produce their goods. From that day on, the river was clean and clear again. The plants along the riverbank started to grow again, and the fish were happy and healthy. Sammy knew that it was all because he had taken action and stood up for what was right. And so, Sammy the Salmon became a hero to all the creatures that lived in the river, and he continued to swim and explore his underwater world, knowing that he had made a difference. The end. Once upon a time, in a lush forest filled with towering trees and sparkling streams, there lived a mischievous and quick-witted fox named Felix. With his fiery red fur and bright, curious eyes, he was the cleverest creature in the entire forest. Felix loved exploring every nook and cranny, seeking adventures and discovering hidden treasures. He was known for his knack of outsmarting other animals with his clever tricks. The forest animals, though sometimes annoyed by his pranks, couldn't help but admire his intelligence. One sunny morning, as Felix was frolicking through the woods, he stumbled upon a fallen tree blocking a path. Curiosity piqued, he decided to investigate what lay beyond. With a mischievous grin, he hopped over the fallen tree and ventured into a magical meadow. In the meadow, Felix encountered a group of animals in distress. A family of rabbits had lost their cozy burrow to a cunning wolf. Determined to help, Felix put his slyness to use. He devised a clever plan to distract the wolf while the rabbits found a new home. With his wit and agility, Felix led the wolf on a wild chase through the meadow, zigzagging and ducking under bushes. He cleverly guided the wolf away from the rabbits, keeping them safe. Finally, exhausted and outwitted, the wolf gave up and slinked away. The grateful rabbits thanked Felix profusely, and news of his bravery spread throughout the forest. From that day forward, Felix became a legend, and the animals regarded him as their guardian. They sought his advice and protection, knowing that his clever mind would keep them safe from any danger. As the seasons changed, Felix's adventures continued. He encountered a lost turtle and used his cunning to help it find its way back to the pond. He rescued a family of birds by outsmarting a crafty snake. Each tale of Felix's heroism filled the animals with awe and admiration. However, Felix's cleverness didn't always serve him well. One day, he played a trick on a wise old owl who was known for his wisdom. The owl, unamused by Felix's prank, decided it was time to teach him a lesson. He challenged Felix to solve a series of riddles, testing his wit and knowledge. Felix, realizing his mistake, humbly accepted the challenge. He spent days and nights pondering over the riddles, seeking wisdom from the forest's wise creatures. With determination and perseverance, he unraveled each riddle, learning valuable lessons about humility and respect. Having successfully completed the challenge, Felix not only earned the respect of the wise old owl but also grew wiser himself. He realized that intelligence should be balanced with kindness and humility. From that moment forward, Felix used his cleverness for the benefit of all. He became the forest's problem solver, devising solutions to disputes, finding food during difficult times, and sharing his knowledge with young animals eager to learn. As time passed, Felix's fame spread far beyond the forest. Humans began to tell tales of the extraordinary fox who possessed both cunning and compassion. Children listened with wide eyes as they heard stories of Felix's adventures, and his name became synonymous with bravery and intelligence. And so, dear children, the tale of Felix the clever fox reminds us that intelligence, when guided by kindness, can create a world where all creatures live in harmony. May you embrace your own cleverness and use it to bring joy and help those around you. Once upon a time, in a land filled with shimmering lakes and lush green meadows, a flock of magnificent flamingos lived. These graceful birds had the power of 50 praggers, which made them extraordinary. Each pragger gifted them with a special ability, like dazzling colors, remarkable balance, and even the ability to dance. These flamingos spent their days by the tranquil lake, their long legs wading through the crystal clear water. They would dip their curved beaks into the depths, catching delicious fish and shrimp. Their feathers, a glorious shade of pink, sparkled under the golden sun. One flamingo named Flora had the first pragger, which allowed her to change her color at will. With a wave of her wings, she could become vibrant pink, sky blue, or even a striking shade of gold. Flora loved surprising her friends with her colorful transformations, turning invisible amidst the bright blooms of the water lilies. Another flamingo, named Felix, possessed the second pragger. It granted him extraordinary balance, enabling him to stand gracefully on one leg for hours on end. He would demonstrate his incredible skill by standing on one leg, sometimes even on top of a wobbly rock, making all the other animals marvel at his poise. Felicity, a playful flamingo, held the third pragger. It gave her wings that were swifter than the wind. She would soar high above the lake, performing incredible aerial acrobatics. She would glide through the clouds, leaving a trail of joy and wonder wherever she went. Freddie, a kind-hearted flamingo, possessed the fourth pragger. It granted him the ability to understand and communicate with other animals. He would listen to the whispered secrets of the wise old owl, chat with the chattering squirrels, and even share stories with the busy bees. One day, as the flock of flamingos danced in perfect synchronization, a curious group of children spotted them from afar. Their eyes widened with awe at the sight of these magical creatures. They decided to follow the flock to learn more about them. The children watched as Flora changed her colors, Felix balanced gracefully, Felicity soared through the sky, and Freddie conversed with the animals. They were captivated by the flamingos and wanted to befriend them. Approaching the flock, the children introduced themselves and shared their admiration for the flamingos' extraordinary abilities. Flora, Felix, Felicity, and Freddie warmly welcomed them. They taught the children about their 50 praggers and showed them how they could unlock their own special talents. Inspired by the flamingos, the children discovered their own unique gifts. One child discovered their love for painting, just like Flora changing her colors. Another child found a talent for balance, similar to Felix's gracefulness. Another child discovered a passion for dancing, inspired by Felicity's aerial maneuvers. And one child realized they had a gift for listening and understanding, much like Freddy's ability to communicate with animals. The children and the flamingos became inseparable friends, sharing adventures and laughter by the glistening lake. Together, they celebrated their individual talents and the beauty of friendship. The children promised to protect the flamingos and their home, ensuring that future generations would also have the chance to witness the magic of the 50 Praggers. And so, the flock of flamingos and their new friends lived harmoniously, spreading joy and inspiring others to embrace their own unique abilities. They cherished the wondrous gift of the 50 Praggers, a reminder that each one of us is capable of something truly extraordinary.